Hello and welcome. Francis here. Thank you for coming back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I bid you welcome. There is a subscribe button and a bell below if you would like to help support this channel by subscribing. And also when you hit the bell, you'll be notified as to when I upload more content. I'm coming to you from Ghana country, and as such, I acknowledge the Ghana people of the Adelaide Plains as being the traditional custodians of this land. So we have a new moon coming up next week. It will be in Sagittarius, 21 degrees at 14 minutes of Sagittarius. And in Adelaide, it will be occurring on December the 13th, which is on Wednesday. And it will be here at 10:02 a.m. in the morning. So when it's a new moon, is when the sun and the moon are right next to each other, which is called conjunct, and it's the beginning of a new lunar cycle. The new moon is often when the sky is at its darkest, so this is a whole place of pure potential, when we're sort of like bringing things into being, or even putting out the thoughts of which we can create, or what can be rebirthed from the great mystery of the darkness that's contained within. So this is a good time when people are setting intentions, but to look at your own natal chart or birth chart as to where 21 degrees 40 minutes or 22 degrees of Sagittarius is located. What house is it in? Are there also other planets or points there or around that point that could actually have an influence on this new moon? So before I go into Sagittarius, just mentioning that we actually have 5 planets in mutable signs. We have Neptune and Saturn, which are in Pisces, which is mutable water. And we have the Sun, Moon, and Mars all in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is mutable fire. So these planets being in these mutable signs is sort of indicating I won't say an degree, but there's an element of flexibility, there's an element of being adaptable and able to ebb and flow with the changing energies. So a new moon, this is about what you're wanting to create, what you're wanting to sort of move forward in your life, because Sagittarius, which is a bit like its ruling planets, Jupiter, it's all about expansion and growth and moving forward to what is inspiring you. There's also sort of element of sort of push behind this new moon, and that's because of Mars. Mars is actually behind the sun at 12 degrees 20 minutes Sagittarius, pushing all this energy forward. So it's all about being supported in this forward movement that is probably a bit of a release after sort of you've been feeling like you've been cycling around and getting nowhere, not making traction. Now there's this push to sort of like move forward, to expand, to go even beyond where your safety net or your comfortability is, really to push you forward, taking you into rounds where you may not have been before. And this could be, say, learning and study, even self-educating yourself. And then bringing through that sort of higher dimension of your higher consciousness, sort of tapping into your soul direction and really moving that forward. So this is also tied up with Sagittarius being a mutable fire sign. It's all about inspiration. So you could be feeling inspired to follow something, yet not really understanding where this pull is coming from, or the direction that you're heading into, or even how the end result may be. But Sagittarius has this trusting energy about it, which sort of almost contradicts being a fire sign, because the fire sign is all about self-identity, but also wanting to know where the direction that we're heading into. Sagittarius is sort of like asking us to surrender those sort of controlling aspects that could actually prevent us moving forward, in that we're having to sort of dig down into the detail and knowing everything that is happening. It's sort of asking us to just go with the flow, to have faith, because where we are getting pulled into is often coming through higher energy or higher vibrations in the universe. So if you feel like you are wanting to head off in a direction, go with that sensation. Sense into the possibilities. Get ready to move, even if that thing doesn't quite resonate or has not resonated with you earlier. It is a time to sort of coming back and to move forward, to step up and sort of embrace that yes moment. And especially when it comes down to looking at the direction that your life is heading into. And this is all very important because both the moon and the sun are making a trine with the North Node. The North Node's at 21 degrees 53 minutes, and it's retrograde in Aries. I've talked about the North Node before. The North Node is of our future direction, where we are heading into. It's all about sort of like trusting that something is sort of calling us. Aries is also about self-identity, your potential to truly know yourself, to know what you're capable at, summon up the courage and the potential to do something on your own. But also following what has your name on it, again, as you feeling sort of dropping into yourself, feeling where your soul is sort of directing and driving you through. So you may feel that you're ready for a new start. And there's another element to this new moon, and that's with Chiron. Chiron is at 15 degrees 32 minutes of Aries. It's also retrograde, and Chiron is the wounded healer. So what it's doing is sort of helping us to release the energies that maybe, or realize energies that we have sort of healed through or healed from over this last year. It will be actually stationing direct on the 26th of December, which is around about the full moon. And this energy is sort of encouraging you to attempt something that maybe you've tried in the past that didn't quite work out, but now all the sort of energy has shifted and it's time to give it another go. The North Node will make a direct conjunction with Chiron in February next year. That's 2024. But this upcoming new moon on the 13th in Sagittarius could indicate that now is the time to sort of be planting those seeds with respect to what is the best for you, so you're in alignment with the North Node. The North Node is also connected with our higher self, our higher words, so looking again beyond our own self. It's also a beginning point after coming through that healing journey to sort of start again, but also coming back and making sure that everything is in alignment with yourself. And in doing so, because there may have been a healing journey that you've undertaken throughout the year, you're now finding yourself, while you might be looking at something that seems familiar to you, you're actually coming to that from a different point of being, because you have changed, your energetics have changed, yet you're learning to move forward. So get ready to sort of lean into the changes, seize the opportunities, but take on board the lessons that you have learned from the past. So there is this energy, this sort of encouragement, this sense of being opening up to this new forward direction, allowing a huger level of trust, especially trust in the universe, trust in the unknown. Especially if you haven't sort of like, we've listened at that level of trust in the past, now it's sort of like things to let go of that sort of control mechanism that you need everything explained to you. Now it's sort of like ready to sort of tap into your body, become more body aware, and then go with the flow, so to speak. Now, Marty McCord asks us to check to see whether we are judging ourselves with respect to something that we did or something that we didn't do. See whether we are traveling with a level of shoulds or self-expectations, because this is the lower energy of a Sagittarius. And what you as mentioned in her video report, which will be below, is to look at the sign for Sagittarius. It is the archer, so you've got the arrow. Look to the point of the arrow. If we want to look higher beyond what we're looking or feel that we've locked into, this is where the universe is wanting us to start showing up, to take on that courage, sort of like expand our self-identity, our self-worth, and really move into the direction that we are supposed to be heading up to. It's also asking us, are we ready to start the new? Can we release our own expectations, our own judgments, especially if we're having to really know about the detail? And we're needing to know what would have happened or should happen or as expected to happen. Surrender that need to know the things that maybe we simply do not need to know at this current time, just leaning into the adventure of the unknown. So not only is the moon and the sun trining the north node in future direction, but they're also making a square with Neptune, and Neptune is at 24 degrees 54 minutes of Pisces. And this square to Neptune could relate to a degree of confusion, disillusionment, the realization, again, that we simply do not know. There's a bit of an infinity with Sagittarius to, again, the opening up of the trust of the unknown, to sort of lean into the space and allow the miracles or the awareness to just unfold. In doing so, there's also this need to stay out of the ego and just allow things to be, to move beyond that sort of ego, which is connected with the strong fire signs of Aries and Sagittarius, and learn to sort of like connect in with the higher self, which is represented by Neptune. And this need to trust, especially with what you do not know, this will sort of create an inner battle of the ego and the intuition, the desire to know the answers, where we need to sort of lean into the trusting aspect of the intuition, especially when there's higher forces at play. And again, this sort of circles back to Neptune, because Neptune tends to hold our fears. The fears around trusting our own power, our own ability, or even trusting that of the unknown. There is sort of a universal push from Mars, as I said, it was actually behind the sun, to simply go for it, to trust that energy as it's pushing you forward and not get too bogged down in the detail or wanting to know why, the hows and who's and the what fors. Now, Sagittarius, as I've mentioned this earlier, is ruled by Jupiter, which is at 6 degrees 8 minutes of Taurus and is retrograde. It will be stationing direct on the 31st of December, right at the end of the year. So Jupiter is bringing in the spiritual potential and resources. It sort of opens up ways to maybe see possible solutions to problems, seeing things from different angles. And with it being in Taurus, there could be a connection with what we value, but in particular with longer term goals as opposed to immediate situations. So at this new moon, I suppose another thing we can do is look back the last 18 months to when the full moon was in Sagittarius and see how we have sort of traveled in that time. But with this current new moon that's going to be happening next week, it's all about sort of getting clarity around something that we want to move forward with. And while we may not know all the details now, which is quite natural when we're moving into new territory, sort of there's this encouragement, shall we say, to move towards it, even if we don't have all the pieces of the puzzle together that for our conscious awareness. Don't let that uncertainty stop or prevent this forward motion. Really trust your own sort of soul center, your own self. And this is sort of like, again, moving out of the ego with the mind, because the mind can actually prevent the body from actually achieving things, especially when it comes to the unknown, the unsure. And this full moon is also sort of reminding us that it is okay to trust, especially the higher forces in the universe. And sometimes we just need to let go. So I hope that has been of interest to you. Put some comments below if you resonate, or if after the new moon there's things that have arisen that you feel which just sort of reflected in what I've just talked about. I will be linking to Molly McCord's video below, because she's the astrologer. I'm not. I've just sort of done a summary of what she has been talking about that I found of interest. And see you next time. Blessings.